today, this afternoon. And Matt, we're going to start with the videotaping scandal. I know you have a little something prepared to explain this away to the masses. I'm just going to follow your lead.
Yeah, obviously, folks, you're much more inclined to want to hear about the game today. We're going to do that for the breadth of the show, but we got to start with this stuff, get it out of the way. Anytime Spygate comes up, I think one of the biggest and most important things to do is to sort of re-educate and remind people what it was really about in 2007 and what it's about today, which is even exponentially less than that. So, little performance here. We're going to start off on the bat, and I'm going to be your coach or scout. Coaches, scouts, they love to wear visors.
Yeah, you look just like a scout.
Just
now.
like a scout.
Yeah.
It's amazing, right? So Michaela is going to be Coach Vernava. So I'm the scout in 2007, as any of the 32 can do and generally did do. If you didn't tape a signal on the sideline, this is what it would look like. Michaela, go ahead. Okay, so as dutiful scout that I am, I would write down the down and distance. It's 2nd and 4. Michaela touches elbow, points up. Okay? I have now got tremendous game signal. It's 2nd and 4, points up. Okay, folks? That's what we all just learned. That's a wonderful piece of information. I'm being facetious. Now Coach Vernava, I'm going to record you doing that. Wow, now I have a digital copy, and here's what the process was in 2007. This unfortunate intern, guy that had the job in the middle of the night at 2 a.m. at Foxborough, had to go back to that digital copy and look it up on his off camera and say, okay, 2nd and 4, touch, elbow, points up. Okay, so for the folks at home, can you see the two different things we've gleaned from first looking with the naked eye and then copying it off of a video? It's identical. It's the same thing, folks. So the understanding here, if you want to, as a point of sort of historical reference here, what happened in 2007 wasn't spying. It was freely available to the eyeballs of 80,000 people, any coach, any scout. What they didn't want you to do at that time, based upon a memo, this is very important, Michaela, it was a memo sent by the new commissioner at the time. It wasn't in the game operations manual. And all the restrictions the game operations manual was concerned about at the time was broadcast rights. This had nothing to do with anything. So in that day, Coach Belichick defied the memo that came out of the league under the presumption that, but it's not in the rules, so I don't have to follow it. It was a little bit in the face of the league, so they got penalized for it. But the competitive advantage of having it either written down yourself or videotaped and written down, at the end you end up with the identical piece of information. So that's very important to understand. There's no competitive advantage. It's basically a middle of night clerical advantage for that poor schmuck that has to do it. Now, let's advance forward to 2019, this new thing you heard about last week.
I'm going to have to put my headset on.
Coach Vernava is going to put her headset on now, and dutiful scout Chatham is going to watch her do her now job. Michaela, if you could please, I'm going to now be scout in the stands, and I'm going to be watching you. Could you give the signal? Okay, dutiful scout, dutiful coach in 2019 is now going to write down the signal that I learned by watching what Michaela just did. Here's what I've learned. Nothing. Giant question mark. Now, you know what? In fairness, KSP, the digital media company owned by Mr. Kraft that has nothing to do with football operations, they were filming a documentary there in pure sight of everyone in the media box. And he set up a tripod, he set up a camera, he's got a monitor next to him, he's got a credential from the team to be there. When he's at home games, this is what he does. He tapes the sidelines for in-game scenics on the board. This is what these people do. There's nothing nefarious about it all, but we'll still play the game. Now, Coach Vernava, if you could please give your 2019 Spygate 2 scandal version. So now, now I'm going to check that digital copy of what I have in 2019, and let's see what advantage it is to now have that. Okay, no, it's still 2 question marks. Here's the problem. There's nothing here, folks, and that's why it's so silly, and that's why it enrages me. I would love to have hair, to be honest. That was probably the...
Yeah, you looked very scout-like. I felt very official with my coaching headset.
This Coach Vernava thing might stick. I think we might have to
I think it should, yeah. I kind of like it, I'm not going to lie.
But in the end of the day, folks, I just want people to understand what it was. At this point, it was a corny sort of media distraction for the week, but we all understand that everything is now in this day and age given through headset. The stuff, there was some reporting from the original reporter that sent it out that hand signals were still used from the sideline. That's personnel. That's me holding up who's running on the field. Everyone can see that with the naked eye. There would be absolutely no reason to record that. I'll finish this whole little rant off with one final thing. In 2007, Mr. Kraft confronted Bill. The reporting on this was from non-New England people. This was sort of national reporting on this. And Mr. Kraft said what to Bill Belichick at the time? What was our advantage by having this library of the signals that they were sending of shooting? He says, on a scale of 1 to 100, how helpful was that to us? And Bill says 1. And Mr. Kraft says, well, then you're a schmuck. So now, advance forward 12 years, the rules have changed. For a decade, there have been no signals sent in that way. They're all done digitally now. What would 1 out of 100, now removing what the 1 was there for, like 100th of a 1 kind of thing? So just understand, this is all a lot of media nonsense. They're probably going to get fined because of the perception of it. You know why the perception's bad? Because of all the lying of what happened 12 years ago and not giving perspective on that. So rant over, let's get into the game.
All right.